Hi, welcome to another episode of my Friday night pen thoughts. So let's write that here. And let's put the date also. Lisboa. Today is 9, I think. 9 de abril de 2021. So, this is my Portuguese bit for those people that like to hear a little bit of Portuguese. So, these are my Friday night pen thoughts, number 5 for this 9 of April. And I have a couple of notes here. I'll try not to make this video too long, but I don't really want to be squeezed in time and thinking about how much time I will take. I think I want to take whatever time it makes sense. And so, the first thing that I have to show you today is to talk to you about the pens that I'm going to use for this video, and they are at the same time the 2 pens that I received on the mail during this week. And so the first pen that I showed you here for the title was this one, which is a beautiful thing made of stainless steel, very heavy and with skulls. Maybe you saw my yesterday's video with the unboxing. If you didn't, you can see the pen now. It has a number 6 Yovo nib, a medium, and this is, the name of this pen is Gravitas Stainless Steel Skull, and with a medium nib, and the ink is Mont Blanc, the beautiful ink that I like, Mont Blanc William Shakespeare Velvet Red. And so you can see an all metal pen. It is big and it is heavy. Just to show you, here it is next to a Mont Blanc 149. So it's not a small pen at all. The other pen that I will be using, it doesn't have a roll stop or a clip, that's why it went away. And the other pen that I have for today is this Pilot Firmo that I got also in the beginning of the week. It is a dark green and this is very hard to show the color of this pen. I may try, but I don't think I can. It's a very dark green, and you can see there, I think there you can see better that it is green, but it's very dark. I really like it. This pen is part of an exchange that I make with Wasky Squirrel. This is a pen that I wanted for some time, and finally I have it. So this is the Pilot Firmo green with a fine nib, and the ink it has is Private Reserve Avocado. So it is a nice green ink that I think is kind of a match to this pen. Okay, this is what I got recently. I will receive soon, I hope, a very interesting pen for my collection, a pen that I've been wanting for a long time also. So this year has been great so far, but I will show it in a moment, and I will tell you about it in a moment. But I think maybe I'm getting too many pens and I'm getting without much room to store them. So, another thing, besides unboxing videos that may come in any day, at least any normal weekday to have deliveries, besides that, those unboxing videos, my next videos will be, I hope, 2 reviews and that very long video which is the pens for April 2021. That video is kind of late now because today it's 9th of April and it should be published in the beginning of the month, and now we are not that much into the beginning anymore, but that's what we can do. So I have 2 reviews coming, so if you want to help me, you may try to help me vote. If I have the time for that, I cannot be completely sure, but if I have the time, I will post 2 reviews. And those reviews will be about, one of those will be about one of these. So, this is the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero, Grande, Pura, Grigio, Antracite, or the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero Grande, Pura, Arancio, Fiamante. So, this is the first voting. I will write here so you can see it in the video, and I'll put that on the description to help you remind of this. So, the review number 1 will be about Leonardo Pura Grigio. Let's shorten the name like this. Grigio, which is gray, or Leonardo Pura Arancio, which is orange. And if you think about it, the name doesn't sound that different in English. So this is the one of the reviews. I didn't record any of them yet, so maybe I will wait for your voting and I will choose after that which I will review after that, the one that you say I should. So maybe this is the first that I need the replies, but maybe this is the second review I'll post, because the other one, and let me write it down, the review number 2 is already recorded and will be a choice between 3 pens. One is this nice pen, and this is the Kaweco Sport Black Cristal. I know that there are some people that, obviously because Kaweco Sport are almost all the same, some people don't like that that much, but there are people that are also big fans of Kaweco, so I'll give you the choice to choose between this Kaweco or this one. Yes, it is a Bic pen, and this is called Bic X Pen Select, and the final choice is a pen that is not mine. It will be sent back very soon to my friend Luis, and it is this one, and it is a Parker. Let me keep it on frame. This is the Parker IM Premium. So if you have the time, or if you find it interesting to help me choosing my next videos, please help me with these 2 and I will review those. These are already reviewed, so these will come here, come first during the week, and these will come more towards the end of the week because they are not recorded yet, and I will wait to have some of your input before I review them. I just turned a light on, and I think it may make some difference because I forgot one of the lightings, or one of the lights for this light setup, so maybe it was a little bit dark, and I think it was, or maybe there were too many shadows. Next thing, today's, let's call it, agenda for this video is not that large, at least in topics. I may take some time, but not in topics, so let's go with it. And I think we are almost in halfway of the themes, not of the speaking. Last video I had a request to talk about a specific pen, and that's what I'm going to do, but I'm not talking very extensively. It is a pen that I did not review yet, and I will review it, so I'll just talk a little bit about it. And it is this pen. Some people talk me about this. It has an engraving. It is bought in second hand, so it's, I don't know whose name is that. And it is this interesting pen. This is the Parker Falcon, or the Parker 50. This was a request in the last Friday night video, and I thought, yes, it could be an interesting thing to review and to talk about. So, what can we see about this pen? It is made of steel, very simple. It has the same kind of a Parker 75 shape, I think. Let me have a Parker 75. You don't have the feathers there. It is plain on the part of the feathers of the arrow, but the rest of the shape is roughly the same as the Parker 75. I'm not sure if I said the right name, the Parker 75. And so this is an interesting pen, but the most visible feature of this pen is the nib. The nib is an integral nib, which means that this pen has a barrel, has a section, and the nib is a part of the section. It's not a separate part. And this is an interesting feature, in my opinion. I have to say that, as far as I remember, I never used this pen, or maybe I inked it once only, but it is a cartridge converter pen. But then I got another one that I found more interesting and gave up on this. So let's just see some of the characteristics. This one is made of steel. It has the integral nib. It's the main characteristic of this pen, and it was made between 1978 and 1982, so only for 4 years. I don't think this was that successful. It had some problems. I will show them in a moment. And I have here other two. These are the gold versions, and they have this brown, but there's a little bit lacking there of the coating, this brown coating on the section and nib part. It has a big dent there. They are not in good shape, these pens. Also another one very similar, but with a big ding or dent there, so it's not in good shape. It also has this kind of brownish finish there. The pen looks nice, yes, and this kind of look with the integral nib came from another pen that Parker developed before, which was this one. This is an amazing pen, in my opinion. This is the Parker T1. It's not the best pen to write with. It's quite valuable today, and the tipping may be fragile, so you have to deal with it with some careful. Maybe you should not write with it and keep it safely apart or aside. But this pen is really great. I think that in terms of design it is an amazing pen. It's made of titanium. It's very, very beautiful. But this pen had some problems of the iridium point, let's call it the tipping, not iridium. The tipping sometimes broke off. It could not be replaced. Also, the pen was made of titanium. The machining of this pen was very hard on the machines of Parker, so they were spending more money producing the pen than the retail price for it. So there was no big point and they stopped making them, and some years later they made this one, which is very nice, but if you compare both, that one is really much more interesting. This one even has this little, I'm not sure if this really works, but it has a little screw that you could, with a special tool, or just a screwdriver, you could increase or decrease the ink flow or the thickness of the line. And this one, no, this is much of a plain pen, and it's fun because it has a very big tipping mole on the end of the nib. Okay, one of the things, it's much simpler. This one has this red jewel with the Parker logo there, and not the same thing here but without the Parker logo. So this one has some more features. It has the gold ring there, this one doesn't. So I think this is much nicer. However, this pen came to replace that one, but I think it was not that successful and it had a problem, and I will show it in a moment. It was this. It is very common for this pen to break the clip. I'm not sure if I can show it to you. There, it is cracked there. So it happened a lot and it fell out, and there is no real good way to fix it. Maybe if I could find someone to weld this together, I'm not sure. Maybe I will put some glue there. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to think about it. Actually, I got these pens. I thought, oh, those pens are amazing. I found out there was a Parker T1, this one, and I thought, this is amazing integral nib. I want that pen. I also want the Pilot Murex or Miu. And then I started and I bought 3 of those. And then someday in an auction they had a very bad picture, and this cap was in a Parker 65 and the cap of the Parker 65 was on the T1, and it was a lot of pens, and I looked at it and it was a blurry photo, and I thought, I think that is a Parker T1, and I bought it and it was in good shape, and this is one. And so when I got this one, I never looked again to those, and so they don't tell me that much now. I have to say that I find this integral nib thing a very, very beautiful feature, and I talked to you that after Parker released the Parker T1, it was the first pen like this, Pilot released the pen that was called Miu, or for outside Japan, at least in Europe, it is called Murex, and so the Murex is an amazing pen also. The Murex, let me just show you. I have here a Pilot Elite 95S, or the Pilot E95S in the United States. And this pen is like the Pilot Murex. If you want to think about it, it's a pocket pen like this, but it's all made of stainless steel, both cap, section and this. And then it has the integral nib here, so it's not... This one is flush to the section, so you can have an idea, but now imagine that this is just a single piece, like in this pen. So that was an amazing design that actually was inspired by the T1, and I'm quite happy to say that I bought one on eBay, one of those Pilot that I hope will come next week, and maybe in next Friday night pen thoughts video I may be able to show you, and I hope that. So now that I talked about this one, I think I will flush these pens, see in which condition they are, maybe ink it, so use them for a while, so on. And someday I may make the review of this one, because I think it is an interesting pen, and it's not... we don't see that much videos or things about it, and I think it deserves. I like Parker, so I think it makes sense to have another Parker pen review. So this will come someday, and I wanted to show you because this was a request. And now, if you have a request for any other pen that you want me to talk a little bit about, let me know and maybe I can help you. Another thing that I started doing with those little small tattooing pens, and I'm not sure if it was on the last video, no. On the last video it was the stippen. It was on the video before that I talked to you about the tattooing. The stippen was in the uncommon pen, so I have an uncommon pen for today also. So let me just put here what I wrote about to put that then on the description. I talked to you about the Parker Falcon or Parker 50, the two different names for the same pen, as you wish. And let me write also here no, I will write with the specific pen, the uncommon pen of the week, or maybe uncommon pen of the day. And it is this little thing. And this pen, it is an interesting pen. You look at it and what do you think about it? It has a silver ring there. It is a very strange place to have a silver ring. If you look here, the parts are not completely flush, but this is kind of an uncommon pen. I have to say that this pen was made in Spain, and it is from a Spanish brand that is no longer around, and the Spanish brand is Super T. And this pen is called Olympia. And the Olympia is an interesting design that was released in, let me check my notes here, it was released in 1960. The brand was around from 1942 to 1976. So they released this pen. This pen is an interesting pen. It's like many of other European pens around that had this kind of Parker 51 nib, a hooded nib. Some people talked about the new Parker 51. I have an older Parker 51 here and I want to show it to you. The tip of the Parker 51 was like this. The plastic tip is very flush to the nib. And some people talked about the new version from 2021 of the Parker 51, that there is a gap between the tip of the section, or the tip of the hood, and the nib. And when you look at this pen, you will find that same design. So actually some brands did it like this, like Parker did this recent pen. This pen has some interesting features for it, and I think they are quite nice. One of them is that they come into the design of the Parker T1 or the Parker Falcon, because it's not an integral nib. Yes, because it is a hooded nib, so the nib is separate from the pen, but you have a big section that is all the barrel. And you'll say, no, not all the barrel, because that little part is not whole barrel, but that part we could call it something different than barrel, because this is a piston filler, so this is the piston knob. We could say this is all the nib, the barrel and section are together, and then you just have the piston knob separate. That is very, very large. So this is what you get. This is a nice pen with a gold nib, made in Spain, the Super T. It had a special clip made for them. This is a pen that it is from Spain, from Barcelona, and this was a brand that it's not a big brand in worldwide terms, but it was important enough that in the 1960s or 70s, I'm not 100% sure, was important enough to be one of the European factories of the Parker Quink ink. So Parker made a deal with them and they produced the Parker Quink. This is a very interesting pen. Also, another thing that we can say, it is inspired in Parker 51. Yes, in a way, but I have to say that this was released 4 years later than the Parker 61. And I would say that the similarities are these. They both have hooded nibs. You can see on Parker the tip is always flushed to the nib, not in the 2021 version, but in the older versions, yes. And this one had this arrow, and this arrow was here. Why? Because when you had the older Parker 51, people were used to pens like, I'm holding too many pens now, like the Parker Vacuumatic that had a nib that you immediately know that if you're writing like this, you're not writing correctly, and if you're writing like this, you're writing in the right way. On the Parker 51, you could not see that, and so there were some people that were messing the nibs because they were pushing it too hard, or they were complaining because the nibs didn't write, because it's not that hard to see, and you could rotate the pen just a little bit, and this way you are off, and this way you are okay, and now you're not okay again, but it's not that easy to see. So Parker, for the Parker 61, they created this little arrow that is embedded here on the hood. On the Super T Olympia, the Super T decided to have a little ball, and if you look at the plans of the blueprints for the pen, you will find that this is really a ball that goes inside. It is really in the section, and this little ball is there for that function. So you know that which is the right place, and if you don't really want to look at the pen, if you hold the pen like this, you will not see that little ball, but you can feel it with your fingers and just adapt your grip. So I think this is a very nice and tactile function to it. It is quite an unusual pen to see. You can still get them on eBay, but please make sure they are in working condition. If they are not, maybe you should avoid them, because they have a specific piston filler, the thing, that little rod that screws forth and back, that little part can break easily, and there is no really replacement for that unless you can restore it, or maybe you can 3D print it. Maybe that is a way of reviving all these pens. You will not break this pen that easily, but if you are used to a piston filler, let's call it like this Leonardo, that you can twist it without fear of breaking, this one you don't. You have to twist it gently. If you do that gently, maybe if you find one pen that was never serviced, it will be working, but just be sure to ask the seller if it works. It's not too expensive, but I think it's really a nice pen. So to remind you, the pen is from the brand Super T. They have other pens that remind the Parker 51, and the model is Olympia. And so this is the uncommon pen of the day, and I think this is an interesting topic to bring in all these videos, and I find it fun. And now let's go for the final topic and then the final question about this video. And the topic for today, I'm not sure if I will be able to flip this under the camera without touching it. Maybe I will not. Okay, I can't. I will show it this way. Okay, so this is a book. I cannot feature it all. I will try to talk maybe one day I make a video about books, but I just want to talk to you about this. This is a book, this is the name in Portuguese, Sem Canetas de Sempre. And it is from this editor, this publishing house. So it is kind of a list of pens that are standard pens. And what can I say about this? I wanted to ask you if you really enjoy looking at books about pens, or you just go online and find information, because much information is now readily available online. But somehow I think I always like to look at books, and so I thought it could be an interesting topic to show. This is one of those interesting books. It's not a very serious one where you will get lots of information, but you have information about the pens that this author thought it would be interesting. These are the authors, Isabelle Chabert and Nathalie Valax. And the original title of the book, it's not in Portuguese, is Saint Stylo de Légende, which means 100 pens, 100 legendary pens. And it has some pens here that they say that they are interesting pens. So what you will have like these, several pages about one brand, one model, and they talk a little bit of that model like this. And they say why these are important in the pen history, and they show pens they are not really even fountain pens, but they are important. So let me show it like this. And the pens that they show, they go through various brands like Aurora Astil. I wonder why they don't have an Aurora 88 that I find amazing, but this is their choice, and this is an interesting choice. And they go through some of those. And I decided for this video to get to my pen collection and try to see which ones I have. And one of those is Bic Cristal, or Cristal. And the Bic Cristal is this one. It is a ballpoint pen that everyone hates, but I think it's real. It is an iconic pen, not a fountain pen. It's not about fountain pens, this book, but this is an iconic pen, for sure. And then when you look at these, there are many other pens that I don't have. Some brands that, like Delta, is no longer around. And there are some brands that are not here, like Kaweco Sport. How Kaweco Sport is not here? That's something that I like a lot, as you all know, I guess. One pen that is missing here, one pen, not missing, one pen that I have is this, the Lamy 2000. An interesting pen, very nice. It is an iconic pen, so I think it really makes some sense to be here. They have some Omas pens, of course, it makes sense, and they talk about the Arco pens, and Omas, I think it would be, they should be here. And when you look at the Parker pens, I thought, I may have some of those. So there are here the Parker Dual Fold, and I think that happens for one single and very simple reason. The Parker is really an important brand, and they played a very important role in the evolution of fountain pens. So here we have the Parker Dual Fold, the big red. It is a beautiful pen. Let's go for that page. And here it is, like the Mandarin and the big red. That one, where is the cap? That one doesn't have the cap band, but this is a beautiful pen. Here they are a little bigger, they are not in real size. The pen on the next page is the Parker Vacuumatic. It is also a very important pen in pen history, I would say. It is one of the most beautiful materials for pens. I have a Parker Vacuumatic. Actually, I have several. I think I have two in working condition. At least I hope they are still in working condition. I'm not 100% sure, but I think these may still be in working condition. I need to ink these and also make a review. This is a very beautiful and iconic pen. And when you jump to the next pen, obviously we will fall into the Parker 51. They have 2 pages for the Parker 51 because it was a very important brand. And I have here a Parker 51. This is a Vacuumatic, and this is the vacuumating system is not working. It needs a new diaphragm. It has a very beautiful silver cap, and this is one with a blue diamond that is almost not blue now, but it is a nice, beautiful pen that I have here. When we go a little bit further, we will see another ballpoint pen, and yes, it is the Parker Jotter. And that one, I think it is one of the most famous pens, and you'll see it even in several movies. They are in the pockets in shirt pockets of many people. And then the next one is the Parker 61. It was a very strange pen because it could be filled in with that very special capillary filling system. And I have one here, I showed you a little bit before. This one that is capillary filling that is still new or unused. It's not really new anymore. And this was actually an iconic pen. Maybe the capillary filling system did not succeed, but I think it was really the next step. How can we fill? I think it was the evolution. How can we fill our pens reliably and in a cleaner way? And this was the most clean you could get. You just unscrew the barrel, put that like this in the ink bottle. You just wiped it, or you didn't even. You put it in the barrel, and it was ready to write, and no ink on your hands. So it would be a nice thing. The next pen they show here by Parker is the 75, and yes, I have a couple of 75. This is the silver. The silver version is called the Vermeil because it is gold silver, or silver with gold plating, or whatever it says there. Vermeil, cap and barrel. It is a beautiful pen, but very slim. And the next pen, obviously, the Parker T1, which was a really good pen. By the way, I think they have a mistake here in the book. In this pen, in the Parker 51, the 61, they call it pen from space. And here they call it the real fountain pen. And I think what they meant with the real fountain pen was it had the capillary filling system. So I think this description belonged to the Parker 61, and the Parker T1 is really a pen from space. That's how it was called, because it was released in 1970, and when the space race was at its most intense times, and they had these. They made a pen made of a space material like titanium. And so these are, and there is no other Parker, and I'm quite happy because I have some Parkers that are here. The next brand that we go, that I have a pen, is, oops, I hit the camera again. It's not Pilot, sorry. It was not even Parker. This is by order, and I failed. And it is this one. The Montblanc 149. Beautiful pen with a very big nib. And it is a very expensive pen. But I think it may be one of the most well-known expensive pens. And now let's go back to the Pilot, because we had here, they have some Pilots, of course, Pilot Namiki, but they go for the capless, and they say that the capless is inspired by the retractable retractable nails of a cat. And so the Pilot capless, and I have here an older Pilot capless, and this is the C200W in a teal color, and this is an older version. The nib unit is not interchangeable with new ones, and it has an older type of cartridge that is no longer made. It has a wide opening. If you want, you can put here a sailor cartridge and you force it in and it works, but if you try, you cannot put here a sailor converter because it has a more rigid plastic and it does not fit. But Pilot, because it is an amazing brand in my opinion, they no longer make the cartridges, but because they know that some people still have these pens because they were made to last, they still make a specific converter for these pens. So you cannot work with cartridges, but they will give you that you can buy a converter for this cartridge system, and the pen will work with the converter. And then we have here the Pilot Murex that I was showing to you. That kind of design, very simple. By the way, let me show you. I showed you the Pilot Elite, but I have here another Pilot pocket pen, and it's like this, the idea, but this is a part, this is metal, and the nib is all part of the same section. And I brought this pen, I forgot to show it to you, because I really think it reminds me of the Spanish pen. It's very similar, a metal barrel, a metal cap, but the difference is that the barrel or the body on this pen is not short, it's very long, and it is a piston filler, and this one is a cartridge pen. So this one will arrive next week, I hope. I'm not sure. The postal service is very, very late in every way. And the last pen that I have from this collection, where is it? I don't think this was such a good idea to show you the book, but I will make proper videos with the proper framing to show it to you. Is this one. It is an interesting pen. I don't have this finish. It is the Schiffer Targa. The Schiffer Targa, it was a pen that was very interesting. It was released in 1976, and they made a pen that was really, I have this black version. This is very, very simple pen. Very cylindrical, not completely, it tapers down a little bit, but roughly cylindrical, very simple and modern shape. But when you open the pen, you have the classic Schiffer nib, and it posts well, and it would be really a pen for everyday use. A very, very good pen. This one I also need to review. I didn't do it yet, but I will do it soon. And so along these they have more pens like the Waterman Patrician and many other stuff. And this is something that I think it is interesting to talk about books. I will make videos about books, and I thought it would be interesting to bring this one just to let you know. I don't know if you know this book. I don't know if there is an English version, but there is the Portuguese and the French at least, and it is fun. It may give you a hint of what you should collect if you want to have a good pen collection. I think that is kind of the idea, to show the famous pens, and I have this one. I'm not following the book for those. And that is one question I would like to ask you next. And this is the last question, so we can close this video that is really long, and I hope still interesting. So I was talking about books. This book specifically that has a list of pens, and so list of pens, and my question for you is, and let me put it here on this beautiful red, how do you choose your next gold pen. So what I mean with this is, how do you do it? You go through a list like this, 100 pens, and you try to see which are the most famous. So you go for an existing list somewhere and you try to build your collection based on that, buy books. I'm not sure if there are so many people looking at pen books nowadays, because there are lots of online information that sometimes is easier to access, but I really like books and paper and watching all the parts of a book. But I would like to ask you that, how do you do that? How do you choose your next pen? Do you do like this? Or do you go for the opinion of an influencer? And when I'm talking about influencer, I'm talking not about how we say now social media influencers like YouTubers or bloggers or someone like that. I'm talking about the influence of advertisements, all the online stuff of a friend or your doctor. You go for your doctor for a prescription and you see him signing the paper with the Schiffer Targa, and you say, okay, I want to have that pen, it's my next pen. And you have two options, you buy one or you steal the one from your doctor. And is that the way you go for the influence of someone else or from marketing, advertising? Or you go to a store and just look to the store window and choose, okay, that pen looks great, I want that pen. Or you choose because you find the pen that you want. I have to say that one of the biggest ways to get to know new pens is from YouTube or Instagram for me nowadays, because it's the easier way to see them. I also sometimes acquire pens because I go to flea markets, not now because of pandemic, but I used to go to flea markets, so sometimes I see pens there and I buy them. I go to stores and I buy. But how do you choose your next pen? This one that I got, the Pilot Firmo, is a pen that I wanted forever. And so it made sense for me to get it. But why did I get it? Why did I want it? Because one day I went to a job selection process, and the guy that was making the interview, he had a Pilot Firmo. By the time I didn't know, I already had fountain pens, but I didn't know there were retractable nib fountain pens, and that it was a Pilot, and it was called Pilot Firmo. And that one was green, the pen that person had. So I was influenced for someone else. I wonder if there is anyone that is sitting at his desk writing with, I don't know, let's go for a Pilot Elite, and starts writing and says, I think now, for me, I don't want a pocket pen. I think I prefer a big pen with a big open nib. So I will search for that. And about filling system, I could go for a Leonardo because they are nice, but they are piston fillers. I prefer cartridge fillers. So for a big pen, and you like heavy or lightweight pen, I think I prefer heavy pens. I'm thinking of an imaginary friend, and he may say, okay, I want this Gravitas pen because this is really a heavy pen. It could be some other brand that has metal pens with this kind of shape and cartridge converter system like this. So I chose the next pen because I wanted something with those characteristics, not because I saw that. And when we say this, we could be talking about Leonardo, we could be talking about this, or we could say, okay, I've been using for example, the Lamy 2004 a long time, but I really, really want to feel how a vintage pen looks. looks like and feels in writing, and we decide to go for a Parker Duofold Big Red, the vintage one. So I wonder, how do you do it? You see other people and choose because of them, you are influenced by someone, or you go to a store and I want a pen, and you go to the store and choose one of those. Doesn't matter, because you didn't create the image of the pen that you wanted. Or you research stuff on books, or can you create on your head the pen that you want, and you just need to match, okay, I want a slim pen with plastic barrel and so on, and then you go and try to find the pen that suits your way of writing. So this is something that I find really interesting for myself. I would like to know your answers, if you have them, and if you want to share them with me, because I think this is fun. So I think this is more than enough for today. This was another long video. I don't think I can make short videos. I should, but I'm not sure if it is very possible with me. This pen rolls, so it is a problem to have it still. I don't think I can. Okay. Never mind. So these are the pens that I showed you today. This was the ideas. Please comment below. See the description, because I will have the questions on the description. If I have the time, I will try to put timestamps, but I'm not sure, because I'm recording this quite late today. And this is it. Check the description, comment on the comment section, and please come back for the next video. I hope you're not too tired of hearing me talk. So, bye.